Carole freaking Baskin. I don't swear, so that's as close to the quote as I'll actually get to. Hey everyone, what's up? And welcome to my channel. So today I have a chaotic video, which is why I'm not, see, my backdrop's falling. I call it my backdrop. I literally put a blanket on my couch and I call it my backdrop. This video is chaos. I just got stuck in a dress and now my hair looks wild. I was trying to do a look where this is an actual shirt, this polka dot thing you're seeing. And I was trying to put this like white one, like this like off the shoulder look, but now I'm just wearing too many shirts. So anyway, yes, you're seeing a regular shirt. Just wanted to make that very clear. Today I wanted to talk about a very wild thing that I witnessed that, okay, everyone is watching the Tiger King. Everyone is watching it and I thought, what is this garbage? This is probably really dumb. And I watched it and it was really dumb and I loved it. How did they make a documentary about such insane people and make you like them? I found myself, like, the back of my mind, there was this tiny voice going, free Joe Exotic. I'm just gonna give you my thoughts on the Tiger King because what a wild ride. So I watched it within a few days. I don't even know where to begin, but I did not see it becoming about, it got spun into, did Carole Baskins murder her husband? Which is clearly she did, but I'll get into that. So we got Joe Exotic, this charismatic, crazy, paradoxical. He is so paradoxical. Like, the things he likes just don't compute to me. And he's just crazy. Like, there's just something crazy going on here. But he's wildly entertaining. And I think he started out with good intentions. I think he really did want to help animals. And then it became a cash cow, literally. And he lost sight of that and became kind of a villain. And yes, he did try to have Carole Baskins murdered. But I think the real villain here is that Jeff guy. Because he literally persuaded, and this is what is so what to me, is that this Jeff guy got off scot-free even though he low-key persuaded, he pushed Joe in the direction of asking a hitman to kill Carole. His whole thing was he was just trying to prove that Joe would do it and that he really was a criminal. How do we know that Jeff didn't want it done too and then bailed at the last minute when it didn't work out and then just made up all of this about that? So I mean, I'm not defending Joe Exotic. He has done horrible things. I don't think he's a good person, but I don't think that he acted on his own. So I think some of his sentence should be given to Jeff, who should also be in jail. And are we gonna talk about all of this polygamy? Like, I thought this was illegal. I thought that you couldn't have multiple marriages, and they're out there in Oklahoma with like 3 husbands at a time, and in North Carolina at Myrtle Beach with all of these sister wives going on. And I've just, if you're not from the South and you watch this, please don't think that this is what the South is like. These are crazy people, and I've never in my life met someone with more than one spouse. That is just mind-blowing and not any kind of norm. I'd actually, before watching this, even though they never mentioned my state, but I've never heard of any of these people, even though they're in relatively, you know, southern states. I'd never heard of any of this. I've been to Florida more times than I can count, and I've never heard of Carole Baskins. But oh my gosh, so this is just so wild what happens. So I'm gonna say I really recommend you watch it. It is a wild ride. I read that Carole Baskins and her husband feel betrayed because they were told that they were just asking a little bit about her husband because they're just, you know, curious for the documentary. She didn't know that they were going to spin an entire episode, the whole episode, based on making it look like she was guilty, and how Joe went on and on about how, you know, she did it. He made a whole music video about her doing it. And I'm not gonna lie, I genuinely, wholeheartedly believe that she did it, because when she talks about, okay, first of all, going back to the very beginning, she met her husband because she was crying on the side of the road and he picked her up and she went home with him. It was fine with this man leaving everything, leaving his kids behind for her. That's red flag number 2. You go home with a stranger and then you're fine with them abandoning their family for you. Like, something is just so wrong there. She says all of these bad things that Joe Exotic does, which he does, but she does them too. She doesn't pay people, apparently. I saw that her people were, I could be wrong, but that they're all volunteers. She's millions and millions of dollars. I'm just saying, I'm treating this as a work of fiction. I would not walk up to this person and be like, you murdered your husband. I would just probably keep walking and pretend I didn't know who it was. And I'm not saying anyone should believe me, but I'm saying the people who made this documentary very clearly believe she is guilty, and I think their hidden agenda behind most of this documentary was not only to show the wild life of Joe Exotic, but was to show people, this person got off scot-free with murder probably, maybe we should talk about this. And her case has been reopened, so I'm not opening some unfair can of worms. After this documentary came out, the Florida Police Department in that area literally have reopened her husband's missing person case. So they obviously believe that there's a lot to the story they didn't realize either. It's not just me. So many people, more people than not, believe that. Like, even celebrities are talking about how she clearly murdered her husband. She just did so many sketchy things. It just doesn't make any sense. And how she spent millions, or at least thousands and thousands of dollars, trying to sue Joe Exotic just for using her name. When if she was so worried about the animals, why wasn't she using that money for them? And if she was this great person, why wasn't she using that money to pay the people that work for her? Why was she using it to sue someone who was just a nuisance? Like, there is so much here that is just, there is not one good thing about the big cat rescue that I can find. And we never even got to see inside. You notice that? Like, they show us every little detail of Joe Exotic's place. You saw when the animals were mistreated, but they didn't show us inside of Carole Baskins' lair. Like, how were those animals really being treated? Was it all just a front? Did she even really care about them? We want a part two. Part two. Show us Carole Baskins' stuff. She had, like I said, she had this husband. He tried to file for a restraining order against her because she had threatened to kill him. She had threatened to shoot him and had hidden his guns. He said he was scared to go home. He was actually going to try to run. He was going to try to divorce her, and I think that's why she threatened to kill him. And he was scared of her. He was very scared of her, and everyone in his life knew that. And apparently she'd done other, like, crazy messed up things to him. Her husband just went missing. And she reported it like a day later, and they found his van in an airport parking lot, which made no sense. And if he had a plane that he flew, and they were thinking that maybe he flew it somewhere and just crashed or something, but where he was going, they would have found it. And there was just no evidence of him leaving. Absolutely no evidence whatsoever of him leaving. And you can watch the documentary, but there was like stuff he didn't take that he would have if he was going, and all of this sketchy stuff. And so there was all these rumors that she shot him and then fed him to the tigers. And that is very plausible. How would anyone be able to prove either way? So they're reopening a cold case from so many years ago. And I think this man, if he was alive, he'd be in his 80s now. So this is interesting. And the only place he ever talked about running away to was, I think, Costa Rica. So they even went and investigated in Costa Rica and couldn't find anything. No trace of him there either. The only place he was going. So there is just something so wrong here. And I feel like at this point, if he was alive, he would have seen this documentary and spoken out, saying, well, I was hiding from her all these years, but since people would think she's guilty, he would probably be pretty safe from her now. And, you know, she already got all of his millions because he went missing. So, you know, there's just no reason for us to believe that he actually made it anywhere safely. Leave a comment below. Do you think Carole Baskins murdered her husband? Because I do. Also, leave in the comments below, do you think they should free Joe Exotic? I don't, because he still tried to put a hit out on Carole Baskin. And it doesn't matter what your mindset is, even though she was a horrible person that tried to take everything from him. In the end, it was that Jeff guy that took everything from him. Jeff was the puppeteer behind all of this, who would do anything to gain control of everything Joe owned and to steal everything he'd made. So honestly, my opinion is not that Joe shouldn't be in jail, it's that Jeff should be right there with him. Another thing I want to ask, I'm going to try to keep this video kind of short because I don't want to give away too many spoilers, but I wanted to just bring up a few discussion topics for the comments section. Please, like for real, I'd love to discuss this with you down below. Do you think Joe Exotic started that fire to destroy like all of his evidence and whatever? I am in the middle. If there had been only evidence in there of, you know, sketchy things he'd done that he wanted burned, I would absolutely think so. But because it killed 10 or 7, I think 7 crocodiles, he did seem to love his animals so much. I question if it was just like a accident that someone set fire to it and burned all the footage, and he was genuinely like happy that the footage was gone, but distraught over his alligators or crocodiles. Or do you think that this was already to the point where his animals were just kind of money makers for him, and so if he wanted to get rid of a few, it didn't hurt him that much? I can't even fathom thinking about an animal that way. Like, I think about animals like I think about people. I'm not kidding. Like, I would not treat an animal any less than I would treat a person. I'm genuinely hoping whoever started it had no idea that the alligators or crocodiles, I keep doing that, crocodilians, as John said. I just really hope that whoever did that had no idea that they were in there. Okay guys, that's all I'm going to talk about today for the Tiger King. I'm gonna have to like remember how to be civilized now. Seriously, like I read, your IQ drops just watching that show, but you know, it's an act. Those people are probably not even half as dumb as they pretend to be. They're trying to give you the best show that they can. Can we talk about how Joe Exotic's voice is actually really beautiful, unless I missed a memo that it's not his voice? Like his singing voice sounds nothing like his speaking voice. But I had a good time watching it. I'll probably rewatch it again at some point because it was really entertaining. You just keep hearing things that you think you can't get any more shocked, and then they just throw it out there at you and you weren't ready for it. All right guys, I hope you have a great day. And like I said, don't forget to answer my questions in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.